Ric Peri, Mr. Regulation, the guy we just hate to hear from sometimes because it's never kind of the news we want to hear. Ric, of course, does a myriad of jobs for AEA, but always constant. I guess every year of the 9 years we've done live, you've been a guest. So
I think so.
So God help you. By now you should be good at it. So I don't want to hear any excuses.
All right, sounds good.
Ric, I'll tell you what. Let's put it right on the table. What's the good news? What's the bad news coming out of the puzzle palaces in Washington, D.C.? And you got 15 minutes or less.
I got to tell you, this is one of those years, there's not a lot of bad news.
Shock.
I know. The agency is, well, if change in and of itself is bad news, then that's the bad news.
Yeah.
But in this particular case, the change is solid. It is the right things in the right directions. Like any change, the pendulum swings a little too far sometimes, and we've got to bring it back in to find the new norm.
Yeah.
But the reality is that all things considered, we've got a lot of very progressive change going on. We've got the Part 23 rewrite that came out in December, becomes effective the end of August.
Let's stop there for a second. I've heard so many different opinions on what that's ultimately going to mean to the industry. You're more in touch on the regulatory side than anybody I know, so I'm going to put it to you. Good thing, bad thing, what's going to happen?
Good thing, solid thing, progressive thing, and we're already seeing results.
Okay.
We're already seeing benefits. We're not going to see a new airplane at twice the safety and half the price tomorrow. But we're seeing benefit right away. The buzzword that comes with that's the safety continuum, okay? That safety continuum is permeating everything we're touching right now. When you look at the EAA STC that came out last year at Sun and Fun, it is a function of the safety continuum. And as you bring that into what I anticipate to see another round of products at Sun and Fun in Oshkosh this year, it's the safety continuum. It is a progressive approach that allows for scalability based on risk. Okay? So, in other words, how much effort should the industry and the agency spend on a placard? If the placard fails, it fades, the wings don't fall off the airplane.
Right.
So how much effort should we really spend on it versus, a high-stress turbine blade, right? And that's what the safety continuum is bringing to the market. It's allowing...
Sounds a little bit like common sense.
Oh, don't go there. Don't go there. We're really trying hard not to overemphasize the fact that it's logical and makes sense for a change.
Oh, that's right. That's anathema in Washington.
Exactly.
They just kick you right out of town. Okay, good point. Sorry about that.
So,
I apologize.
So what we're
Mea
seeing
culpa.
is we're seeing a scalability.
Okay.
And I use the word scalability. They use risk-based, but fundamentally, because we look at risk, it allows for scaling. But we're looking at scalability in design, in certification, in production, and in installation. And so for a low risk, low public environment, it's an appropriate level of safety and an appropriate level of oversight.
Okay.
For a high risk, high public safety area, it's enhanced oversight and enhanced involvement. It is so progressive that it's hard to get your mind wrapped around it. But we're seeing those benefits last year, and those are all fundamentally related to the philosophy of the change. The other thing that's important to understand is when in the 23, they've cleaned 23 out to a performance-based rule. They're not being prescriptive on how to design things. If you ask the government to design things, we're driving 57 Chevys, right? So they said, all right, well, what's the safety? The method of compliance, the prescriptive pieces, goes into consensus standards that have the ability to turn in a very dynamic way. So if you look at government, and this isn't FAA, this is government in general, you're looking at 5 to 7 years to produce a government standard, a rule, regulation, an AC, something like that. By leveraging public consensus standards, we can have standards for new and novel technologies in 2 years.
Okay.
So as cell phone technology, as the products here on the trade floor, you know, you see this change in technology. You get a new product introduced here, it may be 5 to 7 years before we have a standard to be able to install it. Under this new philosophy, with 23, with rotorcraft, to some extent with 25, you're seeing these products having a 2-year gestation period instead of a 7-year gestation period.
We need that desperately.
It's huge.
Yeah.
It's huge. So I'm absolutely a fan of this.
Okay. Let's go over to ADSB in 2 areas.
Okay.
One, the 2020 deadline is a 2020 deadline.
Okay.
There's been this huge delay out there. We don't know exactly why. And I found out today, for instance, that the rebate program has barely been touched.
Not a fair statement.
Not a fair statement? Okay.
Not a fair statement.
Tell me what's happening.
So ADSB, there's a couple of things. You know, one is that the rebate program. Shame on anybody who's not applying for it. Okay. That's qualified.
Right.
Single engine pistons, so we're roughly about halfway through the program, and about 25% of the money has been allocated.
Okay. Like I said, barely been touched.
That's not fair.
No,
that's
come
not
on.
fair.
That thing should have been filled like yesterday.
However,
Yes.
the purpose of the program is to promote ADSB, to create the conversation. When you look at rebate programs for big screen TVs,
Yep.
you look at rebate programs for electronics, you look at the simplest rebate program for SD cards. A 20% activity
I see
level is huge.
Good point.
And we're at 25%, so we beat the national average already. But we're having this conversation, which is the important part. That's what the rebate program is about, to have this conversation. You know, AEA and the AEA shops have all the capacity needed to satisfy the market, okay? It's a natural business thing. If the demand is there, the business will show.
Although 2019 is likely to be real interesting.
Well, the throughput at the capacity, the throughput is going to follow the demand. The more demand, the longer the throughput. That's business. So if you've got somebody that's saying, it's going to get extended, there's a pretty good chance it's not. But more importantly, if you're waiting until 2019, that queue is going to go around the block. It's no different than going down to have your oil changed at the local shop. If you wait till the last minute, it's a long queue. You pick your time, it's a short queue. It's the same thing here. We have plenty of throughput, a reasonable throughput. We don't for the procrastinator. And I have little patience for the procrastinator. We've given them plenty of notice that it's going to be a long line in November of 2019.
Is there anything we can do that we haven't done already, though, to move things along and better educate people and let them know that the reality is such that they're going to get to 2019 and get into big weights? It's certainly going, and because of the fact that the shops are going to be real busy, prices are not going down, they're going to go up, and that it's never more accessible or cheaper than it is right now.
You know, I've got to tell you that as a consumer, I price shop like everybody else. As an aircraft owner, I don't want to spend any more money than I have to. But the reality is that the requirement for surveillance is in the regulations. We've been told at a very long length that it's not going to push. The prices right now are phenomenally within the margin of reason. If you are relying on your aircraft, it's a bad gamble.
Mm-hmm.
If your airplane is scheduled for maintenance over the next 3 years, that's the time to schedule your avionics. Piggyback it to having the interior out of your airplane.
Mm-hmm.
Leverage that thing. If the larger the aircraft, the larger the need to schedule your place in the queue.
Mm-hmm.
The smaller the airplane, the less requirement it is, but nonetheless, the queue is going to be there.
Mm-hmm.
It's no different than the airlines at holiday flight times.
Mm-hmm.
You know, trying to find that cheap seat, you know, over high travel days doesn't happen. Well, we're no different. It's the same business. And so plan and manage your option. The other thing I would offer is that sounds kind of possibly a little political at this point, but don't believe everything you read in the media. Sorry.
Where's the hook? Let's get this guy out of here.
You know, we just had a big hoopla over one of the products and the FAA's AD.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You know, and my phone starts ringing off the hook, going, "Oh my God!" You know, well, we don't have an AD.
Mm-hmm.
We have a proposed AD.
Right.
We have, just like every other AD and every other rulemaking, we have a proposal.
Yeah.
Until you have a final rule, you don't know what the answer is.
Right.
And you don't react because in one person's mind, this is the best solution.
Right.
So I would tell people that don't allow things like the AD that's out there right now to come back and go, oh, the sky's falling and they're going to push this rule, and don't read into it.
Right.
And don't react to a proposal. Wait until the final rule comes out. Those are the things that I would really tell people. ADSB is going to happen. It's going to happen. The queue is going to get longer. The throughput is based on demand.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to wait until there's high demand, you're not going to get that flight seat you want.
Right. Flyer beware.
You know?
Well, Rick, we appreciate your time as always. It has been a fascinating week here at AEA 2017, the 60th annual AEA Convention and Trade Show. I can't tell you how much we appreciate working with you all. As you know, ANN's made some pretty strong outreaches in the last couple of years, and especially this year. We're literally going to double the size of the company over the next year. A lot of that is based on the relationship we built with you, the programs we started with you, the things that we learned in that process, including our innovation preview, which is a direct rip-off of the new product introduction, and so much more. So please, if we haven't expressed enough, express it to everybody at AEA how much we've appreciated not just the opportunity to work with you, the things that we've learned from you, but the opportunity to work alongside you in God's work and great stuff in the aviation industry, and most important, being able to get the right stuff from y'all.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Very much.
Aero-News Network's coverage of the 60th Annual AEA International Convention and Trade Show, live from New Orleans, is brought to you in part by the following sponsors.
FreeFlight Systems is expanding its business into the Part 25 aviation industry through new avionics shop dealers, manufacturer partnerships, and STC programs. With a focus on the next-gen airspace and remote-mounted sensor systems, FreeFlight Systems will continue to be a leader in the next-gen airspace. Visit freeflightsystems.com for details.
Meet SAM, the new 2-inch standby attitude module from Mid-Continent Instruments and Avionics. SAM's unique 2-screen display features high-definition graphics and extra-wide viewing angles. Get to know SAM today. Visit flysam.com.